Hey everyone, turns out every time we record a new Reader episode, something goes wrong. This time, the audio I heard in my headset was actually being picked up by the laptop microphone and not the really nice microphone that I'm using right now. So, sorry about the crappy audio in this episode, but this is a learning experience for us too, and now we know to check for that. So, thanks for understanding and enjoy the episode. Hello, and welcome to the... It's the worst. It's the worst. It really is.
Yep.
Hello, and welcome to the Invincible podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. I'm your host, Ryan, and joining me today is Liz.
Hey, guys.
And Brittany.
Hello.
So we are continuing our new reader series here on the Invincible podcast. This is episode 7, and I brought Liz and Brittany back in after they read more of Invincible. How are you doing today?
Doing good. It's late, so I'm a little bit tired.
We are recording a little later than normal, but I think we'll get through it. What are these note cards? So for those of you who are listening, if you haven't listened to the first one, back on episode 5, Liz and Brittany read Invincible Volume 1. That's the hardcover collection, and that's the first 13 issues. So they read the first 13 issues, and they have never read Invincible before, and just wanted to get their impression. I hear a lot of people talk about, a lot of fans of Invincible always say how great it would be to go back and reread Invincible for the first time and experience it all over again for the first time. And I just wanted to kind of capture that a little bit by, talking to them about it as they read it. So since within the last month, both Liz and Brittany have read hardcover volume 2, which is going to be, I think it's it's issues 14 through 24. And that includes the Origins back up at the end of that. So, as far as news, Ryan Ottley just did DallasCon. It's a Dallas Comic Con, so his Twitter has been, he's been posting a lot of really awesome sketches. And actually, speaking of cons, TJ and I went to the Niagara Falls Comic Con a couple days ago, and I grabbed this, which is really cool. This is the script book, which they Image released. I think it's at 2006. It's the first. It looks like a normal comic book, but it's the first 6 issues of Invincible in script form. I just thought it was kind of cool. I'd show you guys. It's interesting. There is a script example in the back of a couple of the hardcovers, but it's just kind of fun because it's full of like spelling errors. In the beginning of the first issue, they actually call Mark Zach. I don't know if I can't remember if his name was originally Zach or something instead of Mark.
I don't ever remember.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that, but it's still fun because it's neat seeing because what Kirkman does is he basically says, oh, draw this person, holding a glass of orange juice as this person walks by. And then there's times where he's like, oh, make him fighting this guy and punching him, on the left side of the panel, but make it look cool. Make it look like he's not punching him too hard, but punching hard enough. Like, he does that kind of stuff. And it was just kind of fun to look through.
Who actually writes the script?
Robert Kirkman.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not script book as in like a script for like a movie. This is what Robert Kirkman gives to Cory Walker or to Ryan Ottley
to draw.
I
gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's actually what the artist sees before they draw it, and I just thought it was something neat. Maybe you guys would be interested to look at.
I think that's a really cool process because I didn't even know
how
it really happens or this is the way it originates because you just think, oh, this. You say, oh, here's my story. They read it or. They have some ideas of pictures, they relate it, but to be so
detailed
detailed about it. It's kind of cool.
He actually writes out exactly one thing that's amazing is he says page 3 is going to be 4 panels, wide panel, and it'll be like this, and then it'll be panel 2 is a small square panel, and then he'll actually map out the actual panels that he's doing, and then the artist will take what he's basically saying and make it into what it is.
That kind of gives me a new respect for comic books in general, because it's not
I
not something I really ever thought about.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that involved.
Yeah, I'd love to do an episode because, like, you know, Bill, TJ, like we're not super into comic books. We love Kirkman and Invincible especially, and you know, we like comic books, but we don't know a ton about them. And I'd love to have an episode where I bring in someone and we actually go in a little more in depth onto like the process, like inking, lettering, coloring, like all those different steps, because there's several different people that go into making these. And I thought that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
So, sorry, 1 second. I am sweating. It got hot in here. Taking clothes off. Woo! All right. I'm gonna cut that.
No, that needs to go in the blurbs at the end.
Okay, so. All right, so let's get started. We're gonna start right off at the beginning of hardcover volume 2, which is issue 14. Now, where we left off last time was Mark is kind of working for the government. He just defended Earth from his dad, who flew off into space. The Guardians of the Globe have formed a new team, and one of the biggest requests that both of you actually had, I re-listened to our previous discussion earlier today, and one of the biggest, not complaints, but one of the things you both wanted to see more of was the team in action. So I loved the fact that the very first thing you saw in Volume 2 was them fighting the Flaxons.
That's exactly what I thought. As soon as I started reading, I was like, this is what I've been waiting for.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, so we actually got to see them fighting. You know, it's not a very long fight, but it was cool seeing the Flaxons again.
Well, especially Rexplode. I had no idea what was really up with him or what his powers were.
Yeah, do you know? Does he explain what his powers are at all? Did you know before this issue?
No.
Or before?
No,
not at all.
Interesting. I didn't even think about that. We didn't talk about that last time.
Yeah, so I was actually really interested in that, and then when they finally got to his origin story, I thought that was, even...
Yeah.
It was a cool way to explore it even further. But
okay,
I was glad to see, because he was someone that annoyed me the most, especially with the whole cheating aspect and this and that. But then again, they still kind of justify the reasons behind this, or if he's being annoying or brooding, so it made me like the character in a different way. So
yeah.
I thought that was kind of
cool. In issue 14, I love this panel of Mark and Cecil have this discussion, and we get to see Cecil use the teleporter for the first time, and I just love it. I think he, what was it? He says, we just got it. It cost the taxpayers $5 million every time we use it, but I just had to try it. I just love it. Just to get a little bit of Cecil, because he starts to really play a prominent role in this volume.
Yeah, well, I remember saying last time, too, I still didn't even know how to take Cecil, and I was a little bit leery of him and trusting him.
Yeah. That big government figure.
Right, but, starting to get to know him a little bit, and just even that, comedic relief of him just teleporting, kind of lets me know that right now I can trust him.
Yeah, that also shows the technology they have, and, this is a little bit further along than where we are in our world.
Absolutely.
So, and then issue 14 also really introduces the Debbie and what she's going through. Last episode when I talked to you guys, Liz, you especially said that, or specifically said that you tried to relate to Debbie a little bit more because she is the female character and she's the mom. She's the one that, you wanted to relate to a little bit more. And then both of you were really devastated, especially after what happened at the end of volume 1. And this volume is really has a lot of her handling it. I mean, this is all about her handling it, and this is very much, both Mark and her picking up the pieces of where Nolan left them.
Oh, yeah, and again, it just shows how brutal Nolan's departure was and how his words, really affected them, and just seeing her struggling with drinking, hiding drinking, not taking care of herself, her unkempt appearance. There was all these things that were just so real and real life situations. So I thought they did a really good job, capturing that devastation of what just happened.
Yeah, having Art come over and kind of be there for her and to help her, and
bring a drink to share with her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
What's going on there?
there were scenes with Art talking to Invincible, telling him like, "Hey, you should really go home more. You
Yeah.
know, check in on your mom. You know, because he's starting to go to college now." And
That's right.
so not only did
yeah, how
Debbie
long has
lose.
it been? It's been a couple weeks since you've been home. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And not only did she lose her husband, but now he's gone, so she's all by herself. They're airing the reenactments of the fight on TV. So she's seeing it all the time.
Yeah, it's that constant replaying, and then just everybody talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he still can't really talk to anybody else about it, except for William.
Yeah.
But he still doesn't even feel comfortable telling anybody or talking about it. So.
And
Well, Debbie made a new friend.
yeah, because how did
Oh,
she
yeah.
meet her again?
It was
for the
lawyer.
books. Yeah, for Nolan's books.
That's right, because she was the lawyer representative or something for the company to
And then her husband, I forgot his name,
Super
came up.
Patriot.
Yes, and
Yeah.
he came up to the window for something, and
which is a tie-in comic. It's another comic from Image, so that's supposed to kind of be like in the same universe as Invincible.
Gotcha.
So she has a friend who's also the wife of a superhero. So she has somebody. So I think this volume she started to come out of that. She got a new job, right? Like because she didn't have a job.
She started to go to real estate,
That's
a real
right.
estate
that's
program
right.
or something,
Yeah.
where if she passed everything, then she could be a real estate agent.
Yep. So she's starting to it starts off very dark, like Mark tries bringing Amber to the house, and she's passed out on the couch.
To shuffle her out, and
yep, and so this volume had a big arc for her in terms of how she dealt with it, and where she ended up, and I thought, it was very realistic, very gritty, and kind of
exactly.
It just seems rough.
Yeah.
I liked. You talked about Amber. So bringing her back up, I actually started to like her because, of course, I've always been like, oh, Eve and Invincible, like, star-crossed lovers, maybe not, always meant to be something. Like, I always feel like they're meant to be. So I always just naturally didn't like Amber. But, again, I kind of liked her a little bit more. There was more that was happening that made me like her.
I'm going to bring Amber up in a little bit because there's a point, because I try to go in chronological as we can, but Amber was awesome in this volume. I actually really liked her. But I don't know. I think we're still in issue 14. But Bulletproof was introduced to the team. In
Invincible's outfit?
Yes, in Invincible's original outfit. That's right. Monster Girl has a little bit of a crush on him.
I found that hysterical, because I didn't quite understand that she was older. I don't think it was ever really explained until that issue.
Yeah, this in issue 15, Robot brings up her
her flirting.
Yeah, her infatuation.
Yeah.
with Bulletproof, and she like kind of snaps at him and says, "I'm 26 years old," and that's like because you guys didn't know that, did you?
No. Well, it's Monster Girl, and she looks like a girl.
Yeah.
I thought she could be, 12?
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
29 years
29.
old. That's right. Yeah, I love that. Surprise.
So when she started hitting on him, I was like,
slow your roll, girlfriend.
Yeah. Got a few years to go.
I know, I felt the same way. I was like, what's happening here? So then when she finally explained, like, I have these desires and I don't know what to do with them.
Then I felt really, really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, she says, if things keep going the way they are, I'm about 8 years from infancy. So yeah, Robot, takes a DNA sample and says that he's gonna do something and try and help. But that just adds more character to Monster Girl, and I love that. And like you kind of already talked a little bit about, not only with Rex but now her, that Origins issue kind of gave you even a little bit more, so which is really cool.
And she's quickly shaping up to be one of the most interesting characters for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm looking forward to seeing her grow throughout the series because I really like her. There's something about her that I think is, special or unique.
Yes.
So I want to watch her. I think she's going to be the one to...
I'm going to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. The part where Nolan,
Mark.
Nolan, the dad, he killed the king.
Oh, so you're going all the way back. Yeah.
So then,
we're talking about, I think it's Aquarius.
Can I just interject for a
Yes.
moment? Because every single time I saw United States Pentagon parking in rear,
I
I
laughed.
laughed hysterically.
I
So
laughed
what-
at that one.
What do you take that as?
There's no rear.
Well, there's no rear, but I see it as government, take it in the rear.
Yeah.
Okay, Liz. So that's the way I always took it. And then I think it was Matt, another friend of ours, who said, "Oh, it's because there's no rear."
Yeah, like
So it's
so
funny
there's no
that
rear.
both of you got both sides of it. Like I took it Liz's way, like hey, parking in the rear, and then you took it as the fact that it's basically
no
a circle.
rear,
And
yeah. Well, I like it's funny because I know that, and I was like, well, is it supposed to be like a
yeah.
to government,
Mhm.
or just because it's comical to
Yes.
know that it's a circle?
Yeah, it was really funny.
Yeah, there were. It was Mark had to marry the female.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find
Because
their
his dad
names.
killed the king.
Yes, it's Aquarius. When your father killed the original guardians of the globe, their king, Aquarius, was killed. But I'm trying to find the name of their people. Like, what are they called?
Underwater sea creature.
Yeah, I liked the is that a force field? Yeah, but it only blocks water. Or it only blocks water. Walk through it. And Mark says like, they had one of those in this crappy Star Wars flick. And he's like, yes, we know. That was in Phantom Menace. I don't know, the Gungans.
Mm-hmm.
Lethan is the guy's name.
That he helps?
Lethan, yeah, is the servant to the queen. The right hand to the queen, and he's in love with her. And Mark has to go and
Defeat this.
yes, because he's the heir of the man who killed the king. So he has
Which doesn't
to.
make any sense.
Well, the best part, of course, is Lethem, or whatever he said his name was, trying to explain the whole ritual of what happens.
Gross.
I was like, where do they come up with this stuff, first
Yeah.
of all?
Well, because it was like oh no, you wear the dress, and it was like, oh, then you marry her right away. Oh, after you defeat the thing. Oh, and then you make love to her in front of everybody, and it just kept like compounding and getting more and more ridiculous.
Today.
Yeah, like right now. Oh yeah, but yeah, then Mark goes and helps Lethan to actually be the one to, get the honor. Yeah, a little fun little aside to see more of the Guardians of the Globe. So, and then issue 15 ends with Mark and
Eve.
or no, geez.
William.
William
It-
Eve.
Issue 15 ends with William and Eve in bed, and they
Fighting
both
now.
because they're dating now, and
And he really doesn't know.
he doesn't know that
what
she's
she
Adam
does.
Eve.
No.
Yeah, and they both kind of have this moment of realization where it's like, oh, you know about Mark? Wait, how do you know about Mark? And then he's like, so wait, you're Adam Eve? So that means you could fly?
And hence
This is so gay.
This is so gay.
So William getting to fly again.
And then Eve and Mark share that later of, did you have to fly him around too?
Yeah. I love that.
I know. That I thought that was fun.
So issue 16 was an interesting one. What did you think at the start of this? This is the one that starts and, Mark is talking to this dystopian-looking New York City about how, him and his dad have taken over the world and it's resist or die.
I was confused.
I mean, yeah, I think you're supposed to be, yeah.
I actually went back and was like, did
Really?
I miss something?
Well, that's what I did too, because I had actually stopped right after the scene of William and Eve flying. So then I opened up to this issue. And so when I opened up this, I was seriously like, I must have skipped something.
Mhm.
What is happening?
Yeah.
So I went back and I kind of went forward just to make sure.
Mhm.
And then I saw there was like some normalcy. So I was like, okay, something else is happening that I don't know about. Let's just kind of try to figure this out as I go.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I didn't like that at all.
My brother actually, because I have him reading these, he actually, I had talked to him and he was currently at this issue and he's like, did I miss something? Like, was there something I don't really know what's going on? I'm like, just trust me, keep reading, you'll see.
Yeah.
So we get introduced to Angstrom Levy, this guy who has the ability to
move through dimensions.
Yeah, exactly. So he was actually picking up the version of himself that lived in this dimension in which Mark and his dad had taken over. So it's almost like we got to see a sneak peek at what
could have
happened.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I thought that was really cool, and I like his character a lot. Like, what a cool ability to have. And then,
like, the things that he says sometimes, like, oh, there's a million other, versions of you, or there's this, and, like, there's a whole universe filled with this.
And just for him to, to have a power in general and to go through dimensions, what a cool opportunity. But then to do what he did and take it a step further and think about collecting them so he can go through all the different dimensions.
Yeah, because right now he says, like, it's a cool ability because he can't go anywhere in that other dimension. He stays in the same spot. So he leaves, like, marks, like the red X or something, to show, like, oh, this is where I parked the truck. So he knows in this dimension he stays in the same spot. So, like, here we are in my house. But if we were to go through another dimension, we'd be on the same spot on Earth, but there might not be a house here.
Might be a train station.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought that's a really cool, like, problem with his power. Like, it's not too overpowered. He can't just appear anywhere.
Right.
But that's neat because he wants the knowledge of all the world, so he knows what he's getting into. It's not like he's just stepping into a wall,
Exactly.
And then he comes back to an invasion from an alien race. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, I don't remember what happened here. I remember reading something at one point that explained this, but the Guardians of the Globe are fighting an alien race, and then all of a sudden there's what looks to be a person shooting across the sky, and then all the aliens retreat, and it's over. And they just say, oh, something else must have stopped them. And they go, huh, all right. And they just move on. That's it. Which I like because it's like, hey, sometimes you're not the one to stop them.
There's somebody else.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting.
Something else.
But not to spoil it for you guys, but we don't find out what that is. That's just...
It's not a tie-in from another comic?
I think it is.
Okay.
No, I think it is a tie-in from another comic, but I don't remember what it was.
Right, okay.
If I did, I would say right now, hey, that's when so-and-so flew across in that one issue.
One of the listeners might know.
Yeah, exactly. If you know, email me, let me know. I don't remember what it was, and I tried looking it up, and I couldn't find it. So...
I didn't even realize, though, that it looked like a person until you said it.
Yeah,
but it
kind of
does.
Yeah. So.
Wasn't that how Superman came to Earth?
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, it's Superman.
It has been unfoiled.
That's all I got.
I thought it was interesting, Robot getting fired, though, because...
I was sad.
Yeah?
I like Robot.
Well, his face always looks so menacing. It's really hard for me.
No, I like him.
Because I always feel like... No, I do like him too, but he does. He has a very menacing look.
It's very skeletal. That's the thing. It looks like a skull, kind of.
And it must remind me of the Red Skull from Captain America, because that was like one of the worst villains for me growing up. But of course, they had to promote, what's his name?
Immortal. Yeah, it makes sense.
It does, but I feel like, well, then we get a sneak peek at Robot and some other things that he's doing that I'm not too sure about.
So there are some shady stuff going on.
Yeah, so my feelings are right,
So,
he's trying to help out Monster Girl, and
yes, he does good
I think
things.
it is intentionally unclear of what his motives are.
Well,
and,
he's not supposed to have, like, feelings and stuff.
Yeah. So he's fired because the team isn't as quick as before, and they're not as responsive enough, and they're not nearly as strong. So they said that having Immortal on the team will help out. They've got Bulletproof now, so they're making changes to the team. So, but in the wake of cleaning up from that alien invasion, we get introduced to Titan, or I should say reintroduced. Does he look familiar to either of you? No?
Yeah, honestly,
Here's another little... Oh, I turned right to it. Look at that. Issue 1, when Mark goes to stop a bank robbery.
Oh, yeah.
He stops the bank robbery from Titan and two thugs.
I can't say that I remembered it, but
No,
now that you
yeah.
showed me, yeah.
That's just another one of those little things. There's not as many of those little things. Those things become a little bit more.
Because they talk about how they had seen each other before, met before.
Oh yeah, he does actually.
So that now it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, are you ready for it again?
Yeah, and Mark assumes that he's stealing again.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of recruits Titan to, why don't you just help us instead? You're strong, like you should be helping us. But we find out later that Titan actually needs a hand bringing down a mob boss. What? Why are you shaking your head?
I'm shaking my head because that was a moment, too, where I was really excited about the partnership, what was happening. I thought it was really cool. And then, of course, what's the mob boss? Machine Head? Machine Head. So just seeing him go down was like, yay, one for the good guys. And then they show the guy that can reappear, disappear.
Isotope.
Okay, all of a sudden he reappeared and he's talking to the boss, and it's Titan.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
But it was kind of awesome, but very disappointing.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he was awesome, the saber-toothed tiger guy.
That is Battle Beast.
Battle Beast, yep,
Yeah.
saber-toothed tiger.
I loved the villains in this issue. The issue in which,
they're
Titan
really
goes
cool
to
looking.
fight Machine Head. You got, let's see, Battle Beast, Magnattack, let's see, what is this one? Kursk. I love that. He's some kind of electricity powers. I'm not clear on the specifics. He's deadly, and that's really all that matters. But I just like that he comes straight from Russia, and you can't understand what he's saying. Furnace.
Which we've seen before.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he actually says during the fight, he's like, do you know how long it took for me to repair that or
That's
something?
right, yeah, his armor and...
Mm-hmm. And then Magnattack, which I love at the beginning of the fight. He just kind of falls through the floor.
He's totally useless.
And then there's Tether Tyrant, who has some kind of, it looks like bubble gum coming out of
Plasma coming from his center core.
They all remind me of different shows when I was a kid.
Really?
Like each character. You don't get that in any of them?
Like each character had their own...
The saber-tooth guy. That had to have been a cartoon somewhere.
Thundercats?
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
You think that Battle Beast is kind of Thundercats?
Yeah.
Yes. And
absolutely.
then the guy with the pink stuff coming out of his chest, I don't know, I just instantly thought of Ninja Turtles with Brain.
Oh, Crane.
Crane.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
you.
Okay, yeah. Big guy with
then
the pink thing in his chest.
The other guy, the bald guy, he looks like the guy from The Last Airbender.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Avatar.
Yeah.
The Aang.
So
And
Magmattack.
That's a Transformer.
I'm sorry, Magmaniac. That's
Oh,
his
wait,
name.
no, that's like Shredder.
Okay, so yeah, Magnattack is like Shredder, okay.
And he does shoot metal, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has metal plates that he manipulates because of magnets.
I got nothing for the Russian guy.
The Russian guy is kind of like Shocker from Spider-Man or something.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more I don't know. Yeah. And then Furnace, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He's standard. We've seen plenty of
Kind of
Furnace.
like a big daddy.
But I like that they're
characters.
I don't really know all the things they can do, but
Yeah, Machine Head, he's just
here you go.
And then, I did like the introduction to all the villains because I feel like it again showed that this universe is full of heroes and villains and how serious it is.
Yeah.
And the fact that they took down Invincible,
Mm-hmm.
again, it shows, how young he still is and learning his powers and how to use them. And he can be really, hurt very badly.
Oh, yeah. He's not invincible, but...
Yeah.
Oh, he even says that, too.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he say,
Yeah. I think I might
think
need
that was
to
at
change
the
my
end of
name
this,
or
yeah.
something like that.
Okay.
at the end of this volume, he says, I
I
think
can't
you
remember
have
if
to
it
change
was
my name.
him that said it or someone else suggested it, but it was actually
Mhm.
Mark.
Which probably happened
Aw,
before.
poor guy.
And then kind of going back to Mark and Amber, we got a lot of their relationship in this issue. Now, earlier, you were talking about how much you liked her in this volume.
For me, I think it just stemmed from her trying to understand Mark, give him the benefit of the doubt, really kind of see things from his point of view. And I feel like that comes from a really caring, loving place. So instead of her being that, annoying girl that's taking him away from Eve, she actually became a real person to me.
Yeah.
I still found her annoying.
Well,
it's terrible to say because
I think she's supposed to be that like tad bit annoying.
Yeah.
But as far as liking her as a character, it evolved for me.
Yeah, I don't like her yet.
I really liked her talking to William and Eve and saying, like, I think there's something wrong. I really think he's selling drugs.
And everyone just bursting out laughing.
Yeah. And
like, if you only freaking knew.
Yeah, and then she tells her other friends, and, she has all these doubts because she's seeing what's going on. He's disappearing for weeks at a time.
Missing a lot of school, cutting school.
Yep, he's got a beeper. He just up and disappears. He's late for everything. He leaves early from everything.
Yeah, and there's several scenes where he shows up to be with her, and he's like, oh, well, I gotta go, or his beeper will go off. So you can see why that behavior is, or why she thinks he's selling drugs.
Yes, yeah. And the day that, he disappears, he just jumps out of the window, and when he comes back, she's asleep, and she's like, tell me you're invincible right now or I'll call the police. And he's like, I'm invincible.
Yeah.
And I just love that. And, she's like, prove it. And he, like, instantly changes his costume, turns the light on. And I just love that, like, it just seems, it's like a very happy moment. Because even if you don't really like her that much, it's a kind of a feel-good thing. Like, he kind of won something in a way because he's got the girl and the girl understands, like, she's okay with it. And then we got an awesome issue where it's called Issue 0. This was kind of a jumping on point for new readers to, if you hadn't been reading the series, check out this new comic, and it kind of catches you up.
I wondered why it said 0.
Yeah.
That confused me.
There's a couple issues that you'll find throughout the entire series in which they kind of say, like, hey, this is everything that's happened so far, just kind of refresh, or it's a good jumping on point for new readers.
Gotcha.
Well, they put that in right after the lights went out, right?
Let's give them some privacy.
Let's give them some privacy.
Yes.
That's when they got into that.
Yeah, and it was just...
It's a family issue.
Yeah, it's a family comic after all.
Yes.
As we see Nolan putting his arm through Immortal's chest on this page.
But it's a family issue.
So I loved the conversation between him and Amber because he, like, breaks down.
He cries. He lets his heart out. I mean, that's you don't see that.
Yeah, just seeing the illustration at this point where, like, there's tears flowing down from his eyes. He's using his whole hand to wipe them, so it's just, like, completely flowing out.
And Amber's telling him to stop, but he's like, no, I have to do this.
I have to get it out.
He hasn't
talked to his mom about it.
Exactly. And she's kind of she has art, and she has her drinking, unfortunately. And now she has a friend, and she's kind of, you're seeing her emotions through it. But what has Mark done since his dad left?
He's been trying to be strong.
And he's fighting.
Exactly. Not dealing with it emotionally at all.
Exactly. So in another turning point from, not a turning point, but another, a great moment of writing in the series is he's doing the thing where he wants to be tough and kind of not tuck it aside, but he's kind of not letting it come to the surface, and he gets to do that with Amber. And it was a great moment. And, he gets
to...
that's
the part.
Yeah. At the end of this issue, him and Amber gets to superpowers, baby. Is that what he says?
Well, yes, but...
when he turns
the lights off. How'd you do that?
Superpowers, baby.
Yeah.
But they also finally say, I love you to each other.
That's right. So that was that moment.
A big moment all around.
So I liked Amber in this. I liked her. I thought it was a good arc for her as well.
Well, even going back to her conversation with her friend in the diner, where she's like, oh, how could it be a superhero? But she's realizing that he is a superhero, but she has to kind of, like, play it off as, like, haha, that's so silly.
Yeah, she figured it out before he told her, you know what I mean? Obviously, him jumping out the window was a pretty big clue, but her friend, like, kind of laughing it off, and her being like,
holy moly, you're right.
Wait a minute.
So I like that, because she had to quick think on her feet and be like, oh no, he really is a superhero, but I can't let you know or anybody else know. This is a secret. So I liked how she kind of covered her tracks quickly. So I thought that was good for her character.
So now before we take a break from Mark and Amber and go visit Alan, before Mark tells Amber his secret, one of the reasons why he was disappearing for weeks on end or whatever is because he actually flew to Mars. So he got the call from Cecil, and he was asked to go up to Mars with the astronauts and kind of be like just kind of a lookout for them because there's the Martian race is kind of there and they're unpredictable right now. Because of everything that happened with Nolan killing their leader. So now we've got to see the I don't know the name of them, the Aquarius, the King Aquarius and the underwater nation, and now we also get to see the Martian civilization.
Because didn't Cecil say like it's their goal to be able to inhabit Mars at some point?
He said he wants to keep communications like keep things good, keep relations.
Like they're amicable.
Keep the relations.
Allies.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he wants Mark to just kind of go there and keep an eye on things. Okay. So his mom packs him a sandwich, which he can't really.
Which turns into space rock, but he still eats it.
Yeah. So what did you guys think of the Mars mission? You got the sequids, these little aliens that attach to people, but I mean, like, the end of this.
Well, the ending, I thought that was cool. I was like, oh, yes, that's going to be like a villain.
Yeah.
He's going to be awesome.
The sequids, like, for me, too, because they said something very specific of how dangerous they are, and so that since they now have this life form that they've been able to attach to.
They have a controlled mind.
Yeah, like
a unified mind.
Yes, yeah. And that's what they need. So then I was confused because I see all of the astronauts, they got safely back to their shuttle, but then there's the one left.
But also there's
I don't know why that's playing.
So
the suits are different.
So thank you, Brittany, for catching that, because I did not the first few times.
Yeah.
And it's a very subtle thing, and they've talked about it, and like the letters column and stuff like that.
Well, that's why he looks back and forth.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. So like, it's a common thing that people always miss. Like the astronaut in the middle on their way back looks left and right to get the suit right, because he's a Martian and he's shape changed into be one of the astronauts, but he didn't get it quite right because he couldn't see the details. So once he's on the ship, he looks left and right and quickly fixes it.
But then,
I didn't realize until the very next page, like.
Oh, one of them's left behind.
Yeah.
So
and this is where I had the question is the one that's shapeshifted. He's just an alien that's on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
The sequid guy is someone completely different that we might see. Well, we're probably going to see him later. But can he talk to the person that was the shapeshifter, or
no.
they're completely different, right?
They're completely different.
Okay.
So we have two characters now. One who is a Martian shapeshifter on Earth, pretending to be Russ Wooten, the astronaut who went to Mars. And then we also have the actual Russ Wooten, who is now on Mars under sequid control.
Perfect. That's the only place that I needed a slight clarification, because I was like, how did the Martian know that he got left behind to, to be able to take his shape? So that's where I was just kind of like, wanting to make sure I understood everything that was going on. Because I don't see him as a threat.
No,
the Martian guy, the sequid.
Oh, yeah. The Martian guy just got a free ride. He just came to Earth,
He's like, I'm going to check this place out.
Yeah. He's going to come in and mess something up.
Like, he's already messed up Russ's job, right?
Right,
Like, he already got him fired and everything.
He's going to realize it's way too hard to live on Earth.
We also get Eve breaking up with William.
And this is just the point where she realizes she wants to be something more, right?
So we get the scene with Eve talking to Mark, and saying that she's done. She's done being a superhero. And what did you think of that? Like her reasonings, what she wants to do now.
I get it. I felt bad because like I still want to see Mark and Eve together.
Thank you.
And did you know she has different earrings with every like scene?
Within
like,
the same scene?
With if you go back, see, so her ears. If you go back to where she's talking to
The first time she walks in the room?
nope, when she's breaking up with William.
Oh.
She's in the same outfit.
But they put different earrings on her. Maybe not. Trust me on this.
Yeah, I
seen
believe
it.
you. I trust you.
You notice great details.
I don't notice those things. I remember actually Ryan Ottley, the artist currently, is it was like a year or so ago. He said something on Twitter about trying to figure out how to draw like earrings for somebody, and he was like playing around with designs and stuff like that, and it was just funny.
Maybe it was that.
Maybe.
Yeah,
but yeah, so she decides to quit.
Yeah, her conversation with Mark, I felt like, was very real and was just like that hello moment of, you're a superhero. And when she says, do you even know what I can do with my powers? I can rearrange atoms. Like, I was like, oh.
Yeah, another moment. You didn't know until now what she actually does.
I thought she could just fly around, maybe had more strength.
And shoot pink stuff.
Yeah, that's what
That's
what Rex said. She's like, Rex thinks I just make pink stuff or something like that.
So I think that's, what we would want a superhero to do, is to try to make a real difference. So I like that she reached that point and wanted to do something more.
Yeah, I love that. Very real, like you said. She wants to go to Africa and help actually save people and use her powers for good.
Mm-hmm.
We also got the return of the garbage
bag. No, I remember that now.
When I started reading the beginning of this issue and saw it was like somewhere in London,
I thought it was like Walking Dead.
I guess I was looking at it too. I was trying to figure out, if they were like zombies or something, but I was just, that's how someone British must look. And and then when he gets hit with, the graduation cap?
The graduation cap, yeah.
And then I noticed the garbage bag sitting there. I was like, oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
And
then he's like crowned king or something, or he's...
the Sky God's chosen, a true ruler of Earth. And, yeah.
Dude's cross-eyed.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny to see that come back up again. And,
in London.
Well, and the fact that now that he's done this twice, I feel like more things will just keep showing up, or they're going to play on that a little bit more.
Keep going back to it.
Yeah, why not?
See, we're starting to figure out Kirkman's writing style. He doesn't do anything once or subtly or by accident. Like, everything will come back. Everything has a purpose and a reason.
That's why you fall in love with the writer.
Yeah,
you look for those little things, or that thing, this is so gay with flying. Like,
like you get the joke.
Yeah.
You're part of it.
Yes, exactly.
So we another thing that happened to cause Amber to doubt Mark and his intentions with her was him leaving to save her from the Reanimen that
when
escaped.
He was starting college. That's
yeah,
right.
So at the college, and she got pissed off because he left her, but really he went to save her. So the Reanimen were reintroduced in this series. We've.
Oh, no, I was going to say, because we met him in his college class. He came in, it was all pompous, the one that was creating them, right?
Yeah, it's, okay, so D.A. Sinclair, that's his name, the big gap in his teeth, like you were saying. We find out that he's actually like a student there, is actually creating these Reanimen, and he gets the brilliant idea to do a live subject. So they take Rick Sheridan, which is a friend that they meet at college, right?
Yeah, he showed him around the college.
Yeah,
when they first went to go.
That's right.
And there was the first attack.
And that was,
And so, poor Rick Sheridan, but he's been turned into a Reanimen. And that's the last we see of him, right?
Yeah.
We don't find out what happened to Rick yet.
But that guy, wasn't he his roommate?
Yeah,
Like he knocked,
Rick.
he knocked him out.
You're right. D.A. Sinclair is Rick Sheridan's roommate. So
Yeah.
when Rick came home one night,
He
got
attacked him.
Yep.
I shouldn't laugh about it, but I think that's a evil genius. I'll enjoy reading about it. Well, the other thing too, when you were flipping through that I saw, I remember we talked about stuff with Robot and him saying, "Oh, let's get started."
Yeah, so there's a quick scene where Robot walks into a building, like it's all very like futuristic looking, and he kneels down, and someone says, "Okay, Robot," and his chest opens up, and there's this, I don't know, creature,
Blob.
yeah, thing that says, "Let's get started," and we don't know where that goes yet. We also got to see Darkwing in that issue. So again, coming back to seeing more of the Guardians of the Globe. Now we get to see a little bit of what Darkwing was like, and I like how they make a joke calling him kind of the sidekick, but they don't like that term because this is essentially Robin.
Hero support?
Yeah, hero support. So we see him, he actually killed these two thugs when Invincible shows up to, see what's going on.
Again, I was confused though, because I was like, I thought he was dead. But then
Darkwing?
But then when you got to the joke of the sidekick, I was like, oh, okay, so someone's pretending to be him? I really didn't...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they say it in there.
Yeah, it took me a second for that one too, because I think I was just so stuck on, I think he's dead.
Yeah, he was called Night Boy, and he was his assistant. And Mark's like, don't you mean sidekick? But he killed these two thugs. Those are the two thugs that you see in Volume 1, when you see a little bit of the... when it's going through all the Guardians and it shows like the Warrior Woman, it shows all of them. Those two thugs are shown earlier on, but it was just another little callback to them. And then he gets captured and brought into the dark shadow world.
And then the sidekick gets all scared.
So now, kind of catching back up to where we left Amber and Mark, we get a whole issue with Alan. And this was the only time you guys got to see Alan, because last volume, Alan, talked with Mark, and they sat down on the moon and discussed everything that was going on, that there's a Viltrumite, that, he was taken off to go, he left Earth, and there was a Viltrumite that was actually good on Earth, and so Alan took off to go tell the planet of Telescria, the Coalition, which is kind of like this community of all these different races that kind of, work together. It's kind of like a global or a universal government. You get to see a little bit of the Star Trek guys in the background here. And then this, we got to see Alan and his girlfriend, Talia. And
up to no good, and then pressuring him into making great decisions.
Mm-hmm. And the reader has to sit outside the door because there's nobody to turn to. But we get to see a Viltrumite attack, and this is the first time you guys get to see a Viltrumite attack since Nolan beating up Mark.
And it made me just as angry. I mean, just brutal, bloody.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't even.
He looks like he's the guy on Green Lantern who turns yellow.
Sinestro.
Yeah.
So one of the Viltrumites looks like Sinestro. He does kind of. It's the mustache and the black hairline.
But again, you just can see how
vicious and angry and controlling they are.
I mean, his insides are floating in space.
He has no arm.
They took an arm off. Like.
Mm-hmm. His eye was
I thought for sure.
I thought he was dead.
He was a goner.
Yeah.
But I really liked him, and I think they built him up way too much to kill him. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I hope they have the technology to save him, clone him, do something to that respect. So
so he is in being repaired. He is going to heal, and we will see more of Alan. But there's a mole in the Coalition.
Is it the green guy? Because to me, he seemed like he was up to no good. This tiny little snivelly man.
The green guy?
Yeah.
On the Coalition?
Yes.
He looked like a Ninja Turtle.
He's wearing like a warrior helmet. This guy.
That guy actually makes a reference to Tech Jacket which is another spin-off series.
Oh.
But you'll see Tech Jacket. That's a character that kind of had its own spin-off series and kind of worked its way into Invincible, and you'll see that character actually. But
Okay, cool.
I'm not going to tell you who the mole is.
Okay.
So, and then that's it. We've got one more issue, and that's the issue where we pretty much get a whole lot of Angstrom. He's hired the Mahler twins. Now, throughout this volume, him and the Mahler twins are going, he's going dimension to dimension, and like you said at the beginning of the podcast about him gathering all the different minds, and he wants to have knowledge of all the different universes. And at one point, he said he actually left all of his duplicates in a universe in which a Y chromosome messed up, and there was only women. That's a reference to a comic book called Y the Last Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
you've heard of it because I think Bill read it.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was another little nod to that.
I didn't realize till you said it out loud.
Yeah. So his goal is he got the Mahler twins to build him this machine, and he's going to transfer all of their memories and everything and their knowledge of their universe into his brain.
But just the look on the twins' face, and I remember them saying oh, we have our own plans and this and that. So I always thought, even though they're doing this for Angstrom,
Mm-hmm.
they're still up to their own little sneaky bit
tidbits. And they did get something out of it. And we don't find out until Mark shows up to stop them. Because Mark immediately assumes that,
it's them that are doing terrible things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Angstrom is telling the Mahlers to stop beating him up. And he doesn't want, this boy's blood,
on his hands
and everything like that. But Mark stops. No, Mark doesn't stop the machine. Angstrom pulls the helmet off, and one of the Mahler twins says, "No, you have to stop this." Meanwhile, we find out that the Mahlers have a ton of alternate dimension Mahler twins that have come to help fight, and they don't want to stop beating him up. And so Angstrom pulls the helmet off, and there's an explosion. Sorry. So, yeah, we get Mark getting beat up, and I think that's the point in which he says, he shouldn't be called Invincible anymore. I'm changing his name.
There it is, yeah. And just seeing everybody from the explosion in ashes, just sitting there. I thought that just...
And there's only one of the Mahler twins left. He's scarred halfway.
He's half burnt.
Mm-hmm. And, then we get Angstrom crawling out of the wreckage. And what do you think of that? What he's like now?
Well, he just looks like a brain.
He does look like a brain. And he's pissed off at Invincible.
Yes.
He's saying that...
But he's the one who made the choice to take off the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
It was his choice to do all this and to...
But he came in busting in,
Mm-hmm.
trying to save the day.
It sounds as though he's confused, though. He's thinking, no, it was him. It was him that stopped it. He's convinced himself that it was Invincible that stopped it, that he didn't pull the helmet off, and that he's got this vendetta against Invincible now. And, he wants to hunt down Invincible and find him. So...
And that's dangerous because he can go from dimension to dimension and get...
all of the Invincibles gone.
So that's where the main issues end. We've got Angstrom Levy. He takes off. He wants to hunt down Invincible. Invincible just got his butt kicked from the explosion. We'll talk a little bit about Origins. Now, Origins is this little backup that was in the back of that issue at the end of hardcover volume 2, and we get a little bit of origins for different characters. Now, Monster Girl.
Is this still Ottley? I noticed that this looked completely...
That's a great question.
Different.
It is not Ottley.
Okay.
It doesn't look like it. Let me double check.
It's a little bit more detailed.
Yeah, I just noticed it was different. So I didn't know if they did that because of it being like an origin comic.
Yeah, to me it looks like almost every origin was drawn by a different person and even colored by a different person. So I'm not sure. I will have to look into that. But origin stories. Yes, each one was done by a different artist.
Cool.
Yeah, that is cool. What did you guys think?
I actually love the origins. When I actually got to that point, I was like, oh, again, this is what I wanted more of, just to get to know everybody. And because right now in this point too, there's so many different storylines happening and characters introduced. It helped me be able to differentiate between people and really get to know them.
I'm trying to. I'm dying.
Dude, it's fucking hot in here.
I'm dying.
I'm sweating like a whore.
I don't even know if that's going to help. We're almost done, though. If you want to open that door.
So, honestly, I really, I liked getting to the origins. Because that's what I was waiting to find out more about them. And
Exactly. Like, even with the first volume, you didn't know anything about it. And to appreciate them that much more.
And that was one thing you talked a lot about in the first volume.
Yeah, like, I wanted to get to know them. I wanted to see what they can do. But in order to even understand that, you got to know where they come from.
So Monster Girl, we find out she was cursed by a witch.
Wasn't it her grandma?
It was.
I thought it was like her
it was
family member.
It was the her boyfriend's grandmother, witch, gypsy woman.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool, getting to see more of her and all of that. We got to see Rex explode, and you talked a little bit about this, and you're doing a sad face.
I am doing sad face because I'm looking at the specific page where Rex goes back to see his family, and he realizes that his parents have completely moved on. They have children. They forgot about him. I mean, they gave him up.
Yeah.
Some government man came and said, all you have to do is give me your son, and you can start over and give you whatever you want. And they said yes.
Yeah. And he became like this government experiment, and anything he touches, he can like charge up to be an explosion. And I just love the last line on this. Like, it doesn't make up for everything he's done, but maybe you'll be just a little bit more understanding the next time he goes and makes an ass of himself. So have a little compassion next time he's acting like a jerk. So it is great because it takes that character that you think is a jerk and an ass and kind of
cheater.
Yeah. Yep. And kind of tells you why. I love the Immortal.
This was my favorite one because when I was reading it, and all of a sudden I saw the Abe Lincoln hat, I was like, really? It made sense. And so, of course, I had to text Billy right away. I was like, Abe Lincoln? No way. He's like, I kept telling you, who does he look like? And I kept naming off all these other people. And I don't know why that never crossed my mind, because now that I can't unsee it.
Yep. I love that. And it makes sense. He's been alive forever.
Yeah.
So, sorry about the cars driving in the background. I had to open the window. It's so hot in here. Then we've got...
My favorite was Duplicate in that story.
Duplicate? Yeah. Because you also get to find out that she's has a brother.
Yes.
Which makes sense that Duplicate is a twin.
Yeah.
And not only that, but her brother's name is Paul, because it's multiple. Multiple. I love it. But we don't know the whereabouts of Multiple.
Or he's evil.
Yeah.
And that kind of alluded to that.
And then last but not least, we get Adam Eve, and the fact that she was she was a government experiment that was secretly given to a husband and wife who had a miscarriage, and they believe they lost the baby, and she kind of grows up with this family and discovers her powers, and
I like that there's that doctor that watches out for her.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, oh, I switched you out for this, to this family. It's he's making sure that she stays safe. So he plays a pretty big role in her life.
Yeah.
And
she wasn't just another test subject.
And it took me a little bit to realize, like, at first I didn't like him, like seeing him in the hallway or in the doorway, just the way that he looked. I don't know, I felt like he was...
Yeah, a little creepy.
Something wasn't going on, but then to realize he actually saved her, and, I like the part where she's like, but I wanted a cheeseburger, and she turns her food into a cheeseburger. To me, that was really cool, so I look forward to her
And at the end of that, it says that that's a story for another time. I will tell you that there is more side stories for Rexplode and Adam Eve, and I think I'm going to have you guys read those soon. It was kind of done as a separate thing.
Yeah.
Pretty short, so we'll be able to talk about that on another podcast, because I think those tie into the series, and I think those are an important tie-in to read. So that does it. We're wrapping up here. Is there any closing thoughts or what on the second volume?
I'm trying to think as far as what's going to be going on for the next one. I was trying to think of maybe some predictions.
Yeah.
But I
really don't know.
Yeah, this one kind of has me having no clue of what's next, because now there's so much story introduced that I'm kind of like, oh, where are they gonna go next? I mean, I hope I see some more of Engstrom. Maybe hopefully get a little bit more of him, but I don't know if he's gonna be gone for a while. Who knows? I'm hoping we'll get to see Nolan at some point, even if he's back on his planet or if he's hiding out somewhere. Just kind of like get to see him again. That would be really cool. And then just more of the team.
Yeah.
Seeing them kind of rebuild.
Brittany, any other things? Any other predictions or thoughts or hopes for the rest?
I think
moving forward?
that Engstrom, he's going to team up with that mob guy.
The Titan.
Because now he's like out for Invincible. That's my thought.
Cool. Now, I just want to wrap up by, in the back of the hardcover volume 2, there's an afterword by Robert Kirkman. And I just want to touch on this because I think this wraps this up very, very good. Very good. Wraps up very well. But Kirkman says, simply put, this book became a bit of a mess, and that's exactly how I wanted it. Now every issue gives you another piece of the puzzle, another glimpse of things to come, and now every now and then a resolution to something that's been hanging over our heads for at least a few issues. I love these issues, and they accomplish. I'm sorry about the truck. And what they accomplish and what they lead up to. I love the fact that there are dozens of events in this volume alone, and that are leading to big events that a casual reader might not have even noticed them, and will certainly have no clue exactly what the big events are. But if you read it again, you'll start to notice more stuff. You'll start to see the big picture. Starting with this volume, Invincible becomes the book I always wanted it to be. He talks about basically how he started dropping in tons of subplots. The Guardians of the Globe getting more face time. Invincible went to the bottom of the ocean. He went to Mars. Titan took over the mob. Angstrom Levy was introduced. The Reanimen returned. Alan the Alien set the stage for the cosmic side of this book. There's a lot of things, and he calls it a mess.
I love it. That's how you felt, though, because there was so much happening in the Reanimen. Like, I completely even forgot about that, and that's got to be a huge part. We haven't even seen
Rick Sheridan.
We haven't even seen Rick yet as Reanimen. So, so that's got to be coming, too. So
what I said back when you first started Volume 1, I said Volume 1 is very much the origin. It's the beginning of all this. Volume 2 is very much here's a ton of storylines. There's a ton of threads. I'm super excited for you guys to read Volume 3, the next, set of issues, because that is when we're starting to get things tied up. He put all those threads in, so now every issue is not only going to have a new thread, but it's going to tie a thread. And so now moving forward is we're going to get a lot of really good stuff.
I'm going to try not to binge.
Because you read Volume 2 in one day.
Yeah, I forgot a lot. I'm not going to do that again.
That's fine. You have more time to read this one. We've got a month. And I have 2 copies now, so both of you will be able to read it at the same time, so you don't have to share.
Read at our leisure. And it's like, at certain points, I actually like to stop, because I just like to think about it and let it kind of sit in. So I, like I said, I'm excited to see the tie-ins. That's new artwork. Yeah, so that's,
at this point, Brittany's talking about the cover to issue 14. There was a few issues around that time frame in which they had different artists draw the covers. So some of the covers look completely different. That is Eve and Mark. He does look older a lot older, and so does Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of playing off the fact that in the beginning of this issue, they fight the Flaxons, who age very rapidly.
Oh, okay.
So it's just a fun cover. The covers never necessarily have anything to do with, the actual issue themselves. They're usually just kind of like an indication of the issue. Yeah, some saying. So, so that does it. Liz, sorry, did you watch Outcast with Bill? Or did you watch that himself?
No.
Okay, I was just curious. I was going to get your thoughts on it, too.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's all right. Kirkman has another comic called Outcast, and they made it into a TV show.
Oh, no.
On Cinemax, and it was released online, but it's about exorcisms, and it's very scary.
Oh.
It sounds like something I would love.
You should check it out. Because
Did he
Bill,
watch it?
Yeah, he didn't like it at all. So,
How did I not? When did he do this?
I have no idea, and now I just ratted him out.
And you ratted him out.
You should check it out, though, because I'd be curious to see what your thoughts were of it. I might actually watch it just so I could talk about it on the podcast. Yeah, I don't know if that interests.
No, I don't fuck with that.
Yeah, me neither.
No.
But we'll see.
I was surprised. Yeah, that you said
That's
you
what
were
I
going
mean.
to watch that.
I might give it a try.
I watch Penny Dreadful. Like, that's as dark as I go.
Yeah. All right, it's boiling in here. Thank you for listening, everybody. This was great. We'll be back next month with our discussion on hardcover volume 3. Really excited for where that's going to go and get your thoughts on it. So, thanks again for joining me, Liz.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brittany.
Thank you.
And good night. Bye.